Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Go Blue with Stu. I'm your host, Stu Douglass. With me, you know him, Ant Wright. Ant, I think it's been a minute since you've been on the podcast. We've been trying to figure this out, but we're here to break down Michigan. Welcome back, friend.
Hey, it's always a fun time.
It is. It is. I always appreciate you having me on. I could do it every week, to be honest with you. But we're here to break down Michigan because what the hell is going on? They're close, and I need your input because I got a lot of thoughts and I need to organize them. But they just can't seem to get over the hump with these good teams. Like, I want to get into some specifics, but if you're like a couple sentences, like, what's their problem?
Their issue is defense. 100% defense.
Yeah.
Their defense has been really, really bad. I believe I point out a stat the other day. They've given up at least 65 8 times straight. They've given up at least 75 times straight. They've given up 75 3 times straight. So it's not really getting better. And right now I have a play Will Tschetter agenda. That's my angle. I think you need
why? I don't disagree with you, but why?
I think you need someone on the court who doesn't care about scoring, who doesn't care about getting theirs. I think they need someone who is going to go out there, play defense, talk, hustle, do all the gritty stuff, just do all the stuff that nobody else wants to do. You pretty much have Kobe as number 3. I think Jett's your solid number 2, and Hunter's your number 1. You don't really need scoring. They're scoring the ball pretty easily, whether it's from the outside, getting to the rim. You have Hunter. You have a point guard who's still trying to learn when it's his turn, when it's someone else's, when to distribute, when to be in attack mode. Like, he's figuring things out. But I think you just need someone who is just gonna go in there and get you 7 rebounds, take only a couple shots, dive on the floor, talk, get everybody in order. That glue, they're really missing a glue. They're really missing a glue, and I think some of the best Michigan teams that we've seen, they've had that steady glue. Maybe hasn't been their best player, but I think that steady glue is something that that they really, really, really need. If you look at the old JB teams, I think that 08, 09 team, I thought guys like CJ were the glue on that team, because CJ could care less if he scored no points the whole season. But at the same time, he came with that same intensity, whether it was practice or whether it was the game. You look at that 13-14 team, someone like Jordan Morgan, being able to be a solid force on the interior. You look at those teams in 17 and 18, someone like Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman, the way that he was able to be steady and bring that consistent effort. You look at even Jawan's best team, during that COVID season with, someone like Shandi, and someone like him just being able to come in and just have that intensity. And he did a little bit of scoring too, but he came in the same way every single time. Him and Eli Brooks were just so steady for that team. They weren't the best players, but they were those ones who you knew what they were going to get every single time. Every single time. You don't have that on this team. I think you have a bunch of guys who want to score the ball, and I think that there's an opportunity for someone like a Will to come in and just be that steady energy guy. And doesn't matter how long he plays, he needs to get out there and play, because Big Ten season starts up. You just brought up how they play Maryland. It's about to get really nitty gritty out here. It's about to be for real. It's about to be for real. And, this can get ugly real fast. If you go 6-14 in the Big Ten, forget NCAAs. You're not going to an NIT. And then I'm pretty sure they're not going to ask to go to a CBI or a CIT. No, that's not even a thing, right?
Oh no.
So, and it'll be a waste of a talent in Jett, who I believe is a first round pick coming out this year. A waste in Kobe, who has done who has done a tremendous job getting better from year one to year two. And then on top of that, you got Hunter, who hasn't been an All-American since year one, all because this year and last year's team are incredibly mid. So you have really good talent on the team, and to have that wasted because the team can't play defense is, you know, it sucks for the guys, man. It sucks.
There's so many ways. There's so many different angles to take on this. I take it like top to bottom, they're just not connected. Like we Beeline will talk about having your, a string on your hip and then you're all connected to your teammates and you got to react to your teammates and it's all going to be one motion, that's why we drilled the 5-out.
Remember he like brought the ropes out and we had to hold the ropes.
You held
we had to hold the ropes.
We literally
if someone
held the
moved,
ropes.
you moved. If someone moved, you moved.
And
triangle, Stu. Where's your triangle? Do you have a good triangle or a bad triangle? But it made sense. It makes sense. If your triangle's too deep, you're gonna get beat. If your triangle's too narrow, you're gonna get backdoored. Your triangle has to be like that whole C ball, C man thing. Like that's your triangle. You have to be balanced. And then you got to have attention to detail on who you're guarding. You're not going to guard a 3+ and a 2- the same way based off a drive. Like, is that attention to detail being taught and drilled? I don't know. And I hate to keep comparing people to Beeline because Beeline was a psycho when it came to like in between the ears, right? Because he was teaching things on like another level, in my opinion, that I don't think most coaches don't get to.
No.
But at the same time, I think you do have to teach some of that.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, you can go about it, you can skin a cat different ways with that stuff, but it's, and I'm not going to harp on the coaching staff because there's a lot of things I see that it's up to the players to do it. Like there's a couple examples. One being a ball screen in the UNC game, like RJ Davis came from the top of the key over to the right wing and Jett was guarding Leaky Black in the opposite corner. And Armand Baikal was just rolling straight down the paint, like right down the midline. And Jett wasn't even in the paint at all. And he was like hunched over and his hands were down. So like, I know that the coaching staff is teaching Jett in that position to be in help side. Like there's no way they're not. So some of it's on the guys to like be aware. And a lot of that is confidence and awareness. And there was another possession. It was the last one, like the big backbreaker when RJ Davis got that floater when Hunter was trying to defend the ball screen and there was a confusion on the switch and Kobe was right there. And Kobe took half second too long to come off of his man to then go guard the wide open RJ Davis. He got pump faked out of his shoes and then he got So like that stuff is like, you just got to have awareness as players. So, to me, Will Tschetter will bring in energy, but if you're making those mistakes, like that adds up quick. That adds up real quick in terms of wide open baskets that you're giving up. And 8 points is a huge difference. Like if you're getting up 4 open baskets, things that you could prevent by simply just being in the right spot. I don't know. There's some coaching there, and I'm sure they spent the last few days, since their break from the 21st, like to drilling that stuff. You would hope. I'm going to give them all the credit saying that they are, but at a certain point where like these guys got to like light a fire under their own asses and figure it out. Like as players, like Hunter's got to know that this stuff looks bad and who's leading from a player standpoint, right? Like CJ did that for us. My freshman year, we were good. And each team that I think Beeline's had that has been good, like they've had those guys. Some teams he's had have been automated. Like the Trey Burke sophomore year was just automated. Like they didn't really, but they still had it. Right. Even that team still had like fire and passion and like guys stepped up. Like coaching can only go so far.
I agree. But like I'll kind of say that I'm confused why the ball screen defense never really adjusted. And when it did adjust, right away, I realized they have not practiced this. Because the way that things were going, like none of it made sense. So I think it's one of those things where like when if there's a high ball screen in the middle third, that you could do 4 or 5 different things. if you're the big. You could go drop, you can go hard flat, you could just switch it, you could blitz it, or you could like high hedge. Like you could do different things at a high level, just something to like switch it up. And when they went from the drop to like a little hedge, it didn't look like something that's been drilled continuously. It looks like they were in a timeout. Said, "Hey, look, Hunter, you can't go drop. You have to hedge." His first hedge, he like he was still shoulder to shoulder with this man, and he kind of just did like a little like ole. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, all right. There's a big difference in what that looks like and what Virginia's hedge looks like. Big difference. You know what I mean? Like one is gonna hedge you out to half court, and Hunter kind of did like a little hedge. So I'm like, okay, all right, all right. Clearly, that's an adjustment that was trying to be made, but nothing that was like game ready, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they're throwing out on the ball screen defense because their ball screen defense is the biggest issue far and away. Like it's like one of the worst in the country. So yeah, they've been trying a lot of different things. They tried the ice on the side, forced the ball screen down to the baseline. They tried under a lot of times. They tried a little more flat hedge because the whatchamacallit, when Hunter just backing up, playing soft wasn't working. So I think they're just like throwing things at the wall and seeing what happens. Like I don't envy the coaching staff because you have such young guys trying to figure it out. Like when you told Isaiah Livers, and Franz was young, but he was so long on the wing and like very active, just a good defender.
Yeah,
like
he has stuff you couldn't teach.
Yeah, like him and Livers on the same team. Like you just tell them to do it, and they're going to do it. And and even when they make mistakes, they get away with it by being bigger and having a little more activity. And this team is just a little different, right? Like, a Doug McDaniel or Kobe Buffkin makes a mistake as a guard, like they don't have quite the same recovery that a Franz Wagner does. So it's hard in teaching that stuff we can make up for the mistakes. So there's like attention to detail there that I think maybe hopefully this week is being drilled and can be made up for. I mean, we'll see tonight. It's easy to do against Central Michigan though versus a Maryland. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna put up too much into what happens against Central Michigan unless they lose, and then
I have to, bro. You know what? Like I have to put a lot into it because they don't know how to string together two good games.
Yeah,
they don't. They cannot string together two good games for some reason, and that goes back all the way to last year. I don't know what that's about. I'm not sure what it is, but if they play really good in one game, the next game, it's for some reason it's gonna just nosedive. I don't know why that is, but that has to it's got to change. I want you to have you paid attention to their transition defense?
A little bit.
All right, against Central, if you get to watch it, or like in Big Ten play, watch the guards and just think about what JB would do.
Yeah,
like I'm watching the shot go up. I see three guys not crash, and they're not getting back.
Yeah, and they're not pointing out the man. Yeah,
like it's like they're not crash. I'm like, look, you have to make a decision here. So I'm seeing like Joey Baker. He's in the corner, right? Shot goes up. He hasn't moved. Like he's not crashing. He's not getting back on defense. I've seen Doug and Kobe. Shot goes up. They're just like sitting on the 3-point line. And then they wonder why you're scoring, and then 4 seconds later you're fouling them on the other end. Like there's just absolutely like just no balance of transition. And that's once again, like that happens so often during the game. You're giving up 2, 3, or 4 possessions in the Big Ten. You can't give those possessions up because every possession matters. Like one possession can like lose you the game, can lose you the whole game, and you can't afford that against teams who are going to be very, very well coached.
The whole thing was not making mistakes. Like for anybody who doesn't know, listening, my role as the 2 guard one, I always had to take the ball out after the defense scored. I absolutely disagree with, and I hate completely.
It's okay. So for like more context, usually it's like the 4 is always the guy who takes the ball out. Like growing
to
up,
the baseline usually.
AAU,
Yeah.
he's like the trailer to like swing the ball or pick and pop. Go.
Yeah,
that's one.
So there's that, the 2 guard, but like Beeline had very specific rules for 2 guards. So that was one. But on the defensive side, or on the transition defense side, like I couldn't crash the boards. If I got an offensive rebound, it better have like bounced to
you
me.
had to get it. Yeah.
If I was going to be inside the paint, I had to get it.
You had to get it.
I was even if I was in the corner, if I was in the corner, I'd be yelled at for not sprinting all the way back to the opposite 3-point line to like be the first line of defense for any fast break. I remember specifically, I've told a story before, but I got an offensive tip dunk when we were doing our trip in Belgium. And I was like, that was amazing. And like, I wasn't taking it as serious because it was like a trip. And I'm like, okay, I can get away with some things. And the next day, he just completely yelled at me. Like, you'll never do this again. You need to get back on defense. I don't fully agree with that strategy. Like, I think you don't have to be that way, but you definitely have to have a plan. Like, all right, if you're not going for the board, then get the hell back. Like, and point out where the other guys are. So okay, I'm gonna pay attention to that against Central Michigan. So there's some details like that where basically Beeline's philosophy, the whole thing was like, how can we minimize mistakes? And that was a big part of it. So we drilled every little detail, and it would save us probably 8 points a game at least, or at least it was easy to track where you were giving up points. So I don't know how much it saved us. That's hard to track. But then you could easily track like, all right, well, we talked about this, and this caused a basket because you didn't rotate it up or you didn't sprint back, and you knew what your job was. Like at the end of the year,
he talks about it all the time. That's the thing. There's not drills.
You knew what the job was.
There aren't drills. Like that is the thing. Like there weren't drills for transition defense. It was ingrained in every drill that we did. If you got to stop, like if we were playing 4-on-4, we're playing like 5-on-5. Like we had a group, like offense would have to get the stop and bust out. Defense, you got to have 2 or 3 guys crash, and then 2 guys are back. Like every drill that we did ingrained these little things, and I think because of that, it's almost like you knew you were doing something wrong in the game automatically, but something would happen, and you're like, "Oh shit, I gotta do this." You know what I mean?
That's like because like I'm gonna see that,
right? But like it's so like practice is like 2 to 3 hours, but the little things will be sprinkled into every drill for 2 hours.
Yep.
Everything like, hey, you have to like do like perfect passing, like passing and pivoting and all this stuff. But at the same time, what's the defense doing? To hold your rope. Where's your triangle? Good shot. Why aren't you getting back on defense right now? Like that's a part of basketball, you know. And I think,
some of it went extreme where like freedom wasn't a big thing, and I think
that's the part that sucked. That's the part that sucked about
when
it.
he gave his guys more freedom. You saw what happened when they won and they went to the tournament. Like you have to have an element of freedom. So our teams, I think, were drilled too hard in that sense, or at least not given leeway in certain aspects. Like you got to make mistakes to do great things. I truly believe that, especially in basketball, because you don't even know where the ball is going to bounce, but sometimes you got to take a leap of faith and make a mistake, because the next time that leap of faith will lead to a huge play, whatever it may be. But I don't envy this coaching staff, because I think I don't know. We're not in the huddle. We're not in practice. We have no idea what they're saying, what they're drilling. I mean, I know Saudi said, like, yeah, we watch a bunch of film. Like, we're looking at mistakes. We're going over that stuff. And this is just a young team, and that's just kind of the name of the game. But like, we're past the development stage now. Like, it's like, all right, you're in the Big Ten. Yeah. You got to win, because
it's about to get real.
At any moment, you don't know when a good resume win is going to pop up. Like, this Maryland team could be really good. They've shown that they can beat some good teams. They already beat Illinois. They got close
Miami.
to Tennessee up. Yeah, I mean, UCLA was not a good game for them, but you just got to be ready at all times in the Big Ten because you can have a bad loss or a big win at any moment. And so, I mean, I think they're edging closer there. I do want to get in though to more about Hunter because to me, it was the name of the game against UNC. Like Baycott versus Hunter, and Baycott just, I mean, overwhelmingly tipped the scale in his favor. And it was on all levels. It was physicality, it was scoring, it was defense. Like he took the game over and he wanted it. Like I think UNC made a big point to post him up. I don't think it was like out of the norm. I think they've been trying to feed him more, but he wanted it and he took it. And Hunter was like, it didn't seem like Hunter wanted it. I think that, and to me, like, I think the rest of the team played okay. The defense wasn't great, but I think everyone else played well enough to win. And like, besides the big glaring center matchup.
Yeah. I think they did two things against Hunter. One you mentioned, and one we mentioned earlier. I think they made it a priority to attack him, whether in pick and roll or on the block.
Yeah.
And they pretty much told Baycott, take your time because they're not going to send help. They're not going to send doubles. They're going to trust Hunter in that 1-and-1. And I think that slowly wore Hunter down throughout the game to the point where he never really got rhythm. And when you're really physical with bigs, like I can chase a 2 or 3 all day. Like I will chase you all over the place. But as soon as I got to check like a big dude, like Jeff Adrian from like UConn, and I got to wrestle his ass for like 20 minutes, or like Shamari Spears from Boston College, just like these like 6'7", 270, just 3% body fat dude. Like it's like, yo, like you want to wrestle, dog? That just it saps your energy, bro. It saps your energy. You're just completely gassed. For someone like Hunter, who does need more rest than guards, with the way that they were attacking him in space in the pick and roll and trying to bully him on the block, really just wore him down, in my opinion.
I think the foul trouble too, him playing with 3 fouls, and like they started out the first half, UNC started with a post up, and you could tell he tried to make an adjustment because Hunter had 3 fouls, and right off the bat they're like, all right, when Armand catches it, we're gonna send a double from the baseline. And so Hunter played it and he made him spin baseline, and Kobe wasn't there, and Kobe fouled him, and Armand went to the free throw line. And it looked like Hunter wasn't playing defense, but what he was actually doing was just trusting that somebody
was right.
When there wasn't communication, right? Like if you're gonna be in that spot, you have to hear Kobe behind you before you're just gonna, let Armand turn to the baskets like wide open.
Yeah.
So like there's things like that where you can tell like, okay, they haven't repped these enough because of the game situation and just in general, like I don't think there's too many guys posting up the way Armand did in that game. But I mean, overall foul trouble for Hunter is just bad news for Michigan. And I think they were still even in it. And it was like, he knows how valuable he is. So he can't play aggressive defensively. He gets very handsy and like doesn't want to like make too much contact. And I don't know if they're gonna, they got a guy like Zach Edey, in the Big Ten, and you're like
he's pretty good.
Big matchups. You got Trace Jackson Davis. Like you're gonna have some other tests where it's gonna have to be physical.
You know who's gonna be a test, bro?
Who?
Penn State.
Why?
I cannot wait for that game.
Why is that
Penn State game? Because they play 5 guards sometimes. Like they'll play 5 guards, 5 out. They'll play Jalen Pickett, Cam Winters, Lundy, Dredd, and this transfer, like he's like Jimmer Light. And they'll play like 6'6" and under. And I can't wait to see how they adjust with that. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
They're going to play
and
zone.
Who wins the battle?
Yeah, they're just going to try and play more zone, I guess.
I don't even know. Well, like the whole thing is like they got to guard you too. That was like JB's thing, right? It's like, yeah, we're undersized, but they got to guard us too.
100%.
And whoever wins that matchup is going to win the game.
Yeah, that's why
whoever wins that is going to win the game.
Yeah, you're just at that point you're just going to rely on Michigan missing threes, which they've been hitting. I mean, guys have been hitting lately.
They have. They have. Kobe has been really good since Llewellyn's gone down.
See, I was
Oh,
he was so close the whole time. Like he was making all the right moves.
you can see it.
It
Yeah,
was
you
like,
can see it.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you
like,
can see
okay,
it.
it just didn't go in, but it's like it's gonna happen, and it's been
And it's
happening.
only a matter of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time.
What's the average
You
on?
can
20
see
in the last 4 games or something?
something like that, but his efficiency has been in the like a in the top 5 in the country in
Yeah.
terms of like because like he's just taking he doesn't take bad shots. He did take a
No.
couple like 1-2 dribble middies with like contested that you're like, oh, okay, good
Okay.
shot. You know,
He hit it.
he
Yeah.
had a couple of those, but he does take those with a lot of confidence. So like I don't think there's a shot that he's been like, that was a bad shot. I haven't seen that in like 3 or 4 games.
See,
He's been really good.
this is my thing is like this they're coming together. Jett has just been Jett all year. He's gonna be consistent. I mean, he could obviously everyone can stand to improve all the time, but right now the wing play has been good. Doug's figuring it out. I think
Yeah.
Terrence could turn on the efficiency a little bit and figure it out and be that rock that they're looking for, which I think he is capable of. I think he is still untapped there. But I mean, I think everything else has fallen in place around Hunter, and Hunter just hasn't been there in the big games. So like that gives me optimism. We're like, I don't want to talk trash about Hunter. I fully believe in Hunter as a basketball player. Like I fully believe that he could figure it out and just turn around and dominate the Big Ten. I really do believe that. But the fact is, like, he has not shown up against Kentucky and UNC. Like, yeah, for him, he didn't show up. Like 20 points for him against UNC or against Kentucky. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good game. He didn't show up.
Wasn't good enough. Wasn't
Wasn't
good
good
enough.
enough.
Wasn't good
But
enough. Yeah.
it's like I think the other things are falling into place. Now it's the defense. Now this is offensively. The defense is a whole other story. Like that's just
Yeah.
I mean, where do you start? Like, where do I start? Like, I want to restart back in July. That's where I want to go. Like, you're behind the 8 ball there in a lot of ways. So it's going to be interesting to see how they scheme with some zone and stuff. But I mean, I do think it's
Will Tschetter. Will Tschetter.
Okay, why not Joey? Why not Baker? Why not Joey Baker more? I thought he did well against UNC. He was aggressive and he understands rotations. Like he gets it. I feel that, and he's long too. Slower than Will, but he gets it. You don't think so?
Does he? Does he?
I think he's slow on the perimeter. Like if you're going to switch out 1-on-1, but I think he's given the effort and he knows where to be more than anybody else.
Here's where I'm at. If he's in the game, he has to make shots, and that's what he did against UNC, right?
Yeah. I mean,
but they need like hit like 3 threes against UNC?
2.
But at the end of the day, like
couple drives.
Those shots could have gone to Kobe, or they could have gone with Jett. Like my thing is that right now, as a fifth year guy in Joey, I think he's got to bring a little bit more, man. Like I'm looking back at even like the Jackson State game. You can't miss box outs. You can't miss little things when you could have a freshman or sophomore out there learning in those games, someone that's going to be in the program next year and the following year. Those who are going to carry on the culture,
Yeah.
I'm not sure long term what the difference is between him and Will. Honestly, like Will could shoot the ball, but on top of that, I'm watching the UNC game and I watched only Will minutes, right? For 3 minutes. I replayed it and watched it. And in that time, like he outplayed Joey and it wasn't even close. And like I chopped it all up and I threw it on Twitter because I'm like, why did this guy come out the game? Like, why isn't he playing more? Why is this guy only playing 3 or 4 minutes? Like, you can't get into a rhythm. You can't grow from game to game when you're not getting something consistent. Especially if you've never felt minutes before. Like, there's a big difference between playing 5 or 6 minutes and being in the game and playing 20, 25 plus. Big difference. You know, like, I don't know, bro.
What about the Kentucky game? Like, I thought he missed some rotations, and he's young and he's active. I thought he missed some rotations. He got that shot blocked, which it's not fair to guys like this, where it's like, all right, you come in and you play well, you'll stay in. So that's like a lot of pressure.
I think they got to throw him in the fire. I think they got to let him make some mistakes, especially in like the non-conference. I think there were plenty of situations where there were guys to make mistakes and make errors, but from one Walker, what's up? My birthday cake's ready. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Ant's birthday, January 1, everybody. So wish him a happy birthday.
Ta-da! Thank you. That's your birthday cake. Okay.
Just a little announcement. Birthday cake is
Walker. Walker's so funny. He's so funny. What was I saying?
Throwing Will in the fire.
Yeah, throw him in the fire. Let him make mistakes. But what has happened is Will, Isaiah Barnes, Yo-Yo, Will, Isaiah, Yusuf, Jace. Those 4 guys have no rhythm this year. None. No, because they'll play a few minutes in the first half, not play any more for the second half, won't play the next game.
Yeah.
So like they'll sit for three straight halves. Like there's no, I think they're trying to still find what the rotation is.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a rotation for 3 or 4 straight games. And then if that's not working, flip it up and put someone else in there and run with that for 3 or 4 straight games. But I think they're messing around a lot between the 8th, 9, 10, and 11. Like, they're really like not establishing anything there. And I think that's going to come back to bite them in the end, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, they've shown that before, but I agree. Like, it's getting a little late to be playing. Like, you know, as a coaching staff, you're looking at Jace, and whether it's fair or not, you're looking at Jace like, all right, just be ready, and you're going to have to just bring it all times, like, flow be damned. And it's not fair with Jace, but that's how they view him. Whether they've told him that or not, probably not. But like that, you know,
I think he's done a good job at it, though.
He's done a very good job.
I think of the 4, I think Jason is one of those guys to where if you played him 20 minutes or he played 2, I think he would give that same effort the entire time.
No, like, I'll say totally agree.
But not everybody can respond like that. That's the only thing. Not everybody responds.
No. My only thing with Joey Baker, making a case for that, and I think you can do a little bit of a game-by-game basis with some of these things, but the gravity of his shot, I think, is big. He's weaponized it very well by putting it on the floor when teams are running out, and that opens up a 5-on-4 situation for Michigan on offense, which I think is huge, and they don't get enough of. And I think just the gravity of his shooting ability is just a big deal. Like, you know, Will can be a good shooter, but right now everyone knows Joey is a great shooter. And Will can be a great shooter, but hasn't proven it. So like that gravity isn't there. And that's, you know, that just takes time for Will. That's 4 years of Joey being in college basketball for people to know that. Like that's a schedule.
Right.
And I think that can be weaponized by Michigan. And I don't think it's been utilized super well. But every time he's out there, I'm like, all right, he did something. Like he hit a shot or he at least tried. And my thing with the bench is you're kind of running out of time to throw guys in the fire for me, where it's like, we can't waste a year of Hunter. Like, we got to figure this out now. And
yes.
Joey, you get in and shoot 3 threes a game. I'm like,
and Jett. We're going to waste Jett too.
Jett too. Right.
Like, he's gone. He's gone after this year, bro.
Yeah, he has
He's
to
gone.
No,
he has to go.
There's no reason for him to stay.
And the only thing with, all right, so like, I'm not trying to kill Joey, but the only thing with Joey is that this is a team that doesn't really struggle scoring. So him coming in and stretching the floor and making threes, I think that would happen with other guys in the lineup as well. But is there an impact on the other end? Like this team scored what 76 the other night and lost. Like you shouldn't score over 70 points and lose.
No.
Especially if you're a Big Ten team, right? You score 70, you're gonna win like 90% of the games at least.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with this.
You can't score 85 and win games like if you're just gonna keep giving up 100. Yeah, like
yes.
You get over 70, you got to be winning games.
Exactly. I mean, like look at the game against Eastern. Like they gave up like over 80 points. Give up over 80 points. They have so many points that are just way up there. Then I'm looking at a team from like I'm looking at Rutgers. I think they've given up, I want to say, I think 50 or 55 points or less, like 7 or 8 times this year. Michigan's done that. I don't think they've held anyone under 55.
Yeah.
That is a problem. In a league that's low scoring, that's an issue. That is a big issue. And like I can't really put to words like how I'm really worried about this team. I'm really worried about this team. If this was a team that was defense first, that was struggling to score, I think they would still have a shot in like close games. You would just need to slow the game down, take care of the rock, and really just try to like muck up the game. If you have trouble playing defense, but you score a lot of points, Big Ten teams are going to slow you down. It's really easy to slow teams down. Really easy to slow teams down. It's really easy to take possessions away. So you're not playing 70 possessions in this game. You're going to be playing 63 or 64. Like that is a huge difference just with how the shot clock works and how teams D you up and all that. But
okay, so before we get out of here in a few minutes, I want to hear what you want to see from them. And so I'm curious from defensive standpoint, because this is their biggest deal. I want to ask you a little bit about the offense, but from a ball screen coverage standpoint, do you want to see them simplify it and just kind of stick to one, maybe two? Or do you want them to keep repping all of the coverages and have that capability to be flexible depending on who you're playing?
I think it's gonna be dependent on who you play. The backcourt play in the Big Ten isn't great. There's still some good guards, but it's not great. You're not gonna play any pros right now.
Yeah.
Who are the pros? Shannon from Illinois is a possible pro. But Shannon isn't a pick and roll goblin. Like that's not what he does.
Yeah.
Jameer Young is probably going to be one of the tougher matchups from Maryland coming up. Penn State, the dude Jalen Pickett, he's like Russell Westbrook, like from like OKC. The dude hunts triple doubles like crazy. Like they almost like let Quinnipiac come back because they tried so hard to get this dude's 10th assist. Like the dude hunts triple doubles all the time. And he's a bully. He's like 6'4", 215, 220. But they don't really have any like real pick and roll threats all that much. I do know Tyson Walker and AJ Hoggard are pretty good with the pick and roll, and it's going to be tough because you have to guard those two very differently. You have to know who the heck you're guarding. Like, oh, AJ's here. Oh, I'm going to go drop, and I'm going to go under. Oh, it's Tyson. Let's not go drop. Let's go with a hard flat hedge. Yeah. Let's still go over, and then like, hey, on the backside, let's, bump, and then let's X out switch. Let's have the point guard run opposite corner, not have to go back to his guy. Something small like that. It's So that's like a good thing. That's a good thing where the backcourt's not going to not going to really have pros.
Right.
Hood-Schifino's a pro, but
Xavier.
he's a freshman.
And Xavier won't let him shine.
Well, Xavier's foot is broken right now. So he's out till like end of February, early March. So yeah, Hood-Schifino's a pro, but he's only a freshman, hasn't really got many reps. The Purdue backcourt's really tough with Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, but those two are also freshmen. They're not going to really operate in the pick and roll game hard. So these are good. So these are good things for Michigan. But when you're playing a decent guard, I think you stick with drop and you stick with the hard flat hedge. Don't have Hunter hedging out to half court.
Yeah, you're just gonna kill him.
80% of that is he doesn't want to do that. Like he doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
You have to have a certain mentality to hedge out to half court.
When you're hedging with your hands down, you're like, oh yeah, this guy doesn't want to be.
This dude, it's like, okay, look, he doesn't want to hedge out to half court. Like
play to your players.
Like Kansas, yeah, man. You just got like, look, Hunt, I know you don't want to do it, so look, hard flat hedge, is that okay? Just stop getting torched.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to focus in. Next few games, risk watching rotations, transition defense, ball screen defense. But Maryland, quick preview of the Maryland game. You mentioned Young. How does Michigan match up with them?
It's going to be a DMV affair. I'm like super excited about that. You got
you get Doug excited.
Young. Yeah, Doug is from the DMV, Terrence from the DMV, Hunter's from the DMV, Jameer Young's from the DMV. I believe Dante Scott, he's either from Philly or Baltimore, all within like 3 hours of DC.
Mm-hmm.
Julian Reese is from the area too. Like they got it's gonna be fun, bro. But they got a nice little team, man.
Yeah.
Akeem Hart, 6'8", really efficient. They got dudes coming off the bench who was really good at Georgetown. I believe his name was like Ronald or Donald Carey. He's pretty good. Maryland's a real nice team. They're a real nice team. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament, I believe, and I think it's because Kevin Willard has got those guys to really gel together and understand how to win. I believe they're on a 3-game skid, though. I think they're on a 3-game skid. But at the same time, like that's a team where if Michigan doesn't come ready to play, like Maryland will win that game.
Oh,
Michigan's not gonna blow them out. It's gonna be close or a Maryland win. And they gotta find a way to win that game because that's gonna be a long way. If you want to play in the NCAA tournament, you can't lose home games.
No.
You got to take care of home. You cannot lose home games, and you can't lose home games to good teams because those are those are really good opportunities.
They got Maryland, Penn State at home, Northwestern, Minnesota.
Like Penn State is so tough, bro. Have you seen Penn State this year?
No, I haven't watched them at all. I didn't realize.
Penn State is legit. They run some really good stuff, bro.
Yeah, this Pickett dude averages 16.6. Almost 8 rebounds, almost 8 assists a game. That's like you just don't.
Dude,
it doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. But he hunts stats, bro.
So you could take that to advantage.
He is a stat Padford, bro. He's a stat Pickett.
But like Maryland's not a good shooting team, right?
Are they a good shooting team?
I think they're 3-pointers.
They're pretty streaky. They lit up Miami in that first half really bad.
Yeah.
When they played. Let's see how good or bad they are. Well, they just beat St. Peter's by 30.
Yeah.
Then they got UMBC.
Yeah,
field goal percentage, they're 91st in the country. From 3, they're not that good at 32.2. But I mean,
that's
gonna be a tough That's gonna be tough because Jameer Young, that is a dude who was top 20 or top 30 in scoring last year for Charlotte. He is I believe he's a 5th-year senior. Doug is matched up with the 5th-year guy. Dante Scott at the power forward, 6'8", 230. T. Will's got his hands full.
Yep.
And then Hakeem Hart, 6'8". That is going to be Jets assignment. He has to know where he is at all times. Julian Reese is going to be Hunter's assignment. Donald Carey has been pretty solid off the bench. Really, really streaky though. But he kind of just finds his way in games. He only shoots threes though. Only shoots threes.
What's the key going to be? But, do you think Hunter, if they feed him more, which they need to feed him more. I don't know what they're doing there, but is this a game where he can go back to being himself? Like, just feed Hunter and let them play that way?
I think so, because he hates Maryland.
Yeah.
And Maryland can't really match up with any bulldozer type players, like Baycott and Oscar, like those dudes are dudes, right?
Yeah.
Julian Reese probably weighs like 220.
Yeah,
maybe.
Light.
What is he? He's 230. Yeah, I don't know if he's 230. He's 230 with like boots on while like holding a 45-pound dumbbell. No, but I think Hunter can take advantage of that. They have to feed him. Because Hunter's Hunter, and if you don't feed him, I don't think he'll be, which kind of sucks. Like, he won't be as in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which I think he could do more of. I mean, he's got to be the leader, and I think it all just kind of starts with him in a lot of ways, where he sees it, he knows what needs to be done. He's been on teams that have been good, been bad, had ups and downs. Like, I think it starts with him. So it's a lot of pressure to put on him to score and be the leader. But like, hey, that's what you signed up for, dude. Like, he's playing the heel now on his podcast. Like, he's doing it great. He's just got to come with a little more ready for it. And I think he'll figure it out. I really don't have too much worry about it. I think they beat Maryland, but it's all going to be tests. Like, they got to make the progress like now.
It's gonna be a big game, because Maryland is not soft.
No,
they're not a soft team. And they don't do that fake toughness thing either.
Yeah,
this is gonna be a hard game, bro.
Yep,
it's gonna be a hard game. It's gonna be a hard game. They're gonna have to figure it out.
Yep, it's gonna be fun to watch. So everyone, pay attention to transition defense. You're watching the games. Watch
transition defense.
Yep, and
boxing out.
And and what's it on a rope? Be on a rope with your teammate. Pay attention.
Be on a rope.
Pay attention to the next guy.
No deep triangles.
No deep. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Might as well. You're in no man's land. Might as well not even be there. Yeah. Or don't help out with that. Yeah, all these things. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll pay attention to that stuff, and then I'll be back to break all that down and preview the next few games. And I appreciate you coming on. Great as always. I'll have to get you back on in the next few weeks.
Anytime, man.
Yep.
Let's see if I shave by then.
Yeah, I hope not. Please just let it go. I want it like through the lip, and I want food in it.
I like a hot mess, man.
I mean,
it's like a caterpillar.
That is a caterpillar, dude. That's a.
It's like a Steve Harvey, bro.
Like, you need to shave the rest and keep. Yeah, man. Never mind. Save it.
Man, police would be like, "Sir, where are you going? Don't worry about me." No, sir.
Well, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody listening. Until next time, peace out.